Dosha Lyfe TV, back again after a long hiatus. How everybody doing? And it's been a little second. Yeah, man. I don't have no real subject. I'm just gonna talk a lot of real stuff. Anywho, welcome to the channel if you new. I got a lot of subscribers. I just ain't been posting much. Life be happening. Yeah, long story short though, get a little update. Talk about a lot of these spiritual things that a lot of people ain't speaking on. Because nowadays, it seems, a lot of people be saying they chosen. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of chosen people. But the thing is, when it comes down to being chosen, it's about you choosing yourself. Let me go deeper. You're a God in the flesh, animated through the flesh. What you are is not even present on earth. It's just projecting its consciousness through your vessel on earth, the starship. So, with that being said, if you're this God, you have to be connected to this God being of yourself. There's a lot of people that's disconnected from source, disconnected from what they are and who they are. You feel me? You got to be connected to yourself. So, I say all that to say, when you chose this, because you chose your soul. You get what I'm saying? You chose your soul, and you choosing to be in alignment with what your soul is, and that soul is what God is. So, I say all that to say, a lot of people are being chosen, quote unquote, and they're not really doing the inner work to connect to their souls to be actually chosen. You choosing yourself. That's your soul choosing you, the collective soul. That is God. You get what I'm saying? You choose yourself. Many people choose the flesh and the desires in the flesh. The desires to tie to the vices and all these different things. You got to be in alignment with the divine inside of you. So I say all of that to say, we went from an age of 2020 where a lot of people was doing shadow work and saying, yeah, I'm waking up, being spiritual, breaking generational curses. And then they seen these people that's doing voodoo and all these other things and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That they just want to completely switch from doing shadow work to just doing ritual work. Like, the rituals ain't finna do it all. The rituals is just a tool. We always do rituals, whether you're enlightened or not. Having sex is a ritual. Eating food is a ritual. Cooking food is a ritual, as your stove is an altar. You get what I'm saying? Your stove is an altar. You altering the biochemical structure of the foods that you cooking and putting your energy into it while you cooking and eating it. That is a ritual. And even deeper, you eat meat, that's blood sacrifice. You eating that blood sacrifice, but you're not the one killing it. So that's a whole different story. You eating cursed food if you eating meat in America. So, I'm going to get off that right now. Because, a lot of people like to eat what they want to eat. And I ain't against y'all doing what y'all do. But, if you don't want as much spiritual battles and spiritual warfare within your vessel and you want full control of your emotional state and all that, you have to detox these things. See, this is go back to being chosen. You got to choose your soul. Certain things that impact you from being in tune with your soul. Therefore, they put chemicals, chems that I call, the darkness that I call, we call chemicals, and they put it in capsules, and it's like a pilgrimage, a pilgrimage, pilgram age, whatever you want to call it. You put it in your vessel. You putting these energies in your body that war with your DNA, which is your ancestry, which is the word of God in you. Your lungs don't form into a ball of lung cells. They form into an actual lung because the DNA, which is the word of God, tells you how to form. And that's your ancestors telling your body how to develop while within the womb. It's like you playing a video game and you want to create your avatar for the game. Except that you're not just one being. You're a collective of all your ancestry. So it's like all of them are in the womb saying, I want the nose to look like this. I want the mouth to look like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to suit that person's purpose. You get what I'm saying? So all these people altering their body and changing all that up and all that extra shit, that ain't really what's necessary, man. It's just God don't make mistakes because the soul don't make mistakes. It's people making mistakes to try to suit a world that's outside of themselves instead of the world within, like a chosen person would do. You get what I'm saying? The desires of the flesh are usually things that separate you from the soul. However, if you follow your soul and you be on your soul's time, you can get the flesh's desires in alignment with your purpose. People, when I say alignment, is your mental. That's the thought process of God. You gotta align to your mental. Your mental and your heart can be in two different places. Your heart gonna process whatever you feed yourself. Not only that, you don't just eat with your mouth. You eat with your ears. You eat with your eyes. These are wombs. I could turn it to the side. You know what I'm saying? Your mouth is a womb. I can go deeper and deeper. Wombs are portals. Your heart is a womb. It's a portal to source in every individual. See, what you're supposed to do is to put up boundaries, you know what I'm saying? And I mean self-boundaries. Not just for outside people, but boundaries for yourself so that you do right for your own being. Like, what if there was a clone of you and you was dating this clone? And I'm not saying a clone as in the clone sense, but let's just say it's two yous. Let's say one of you is sitting there making sure that, you know what I'm saying, because you love yourself, you don't make the decisions that'll go out and destroy yourself. That's holding yourself accountable. You get what I'm saying? You want to hold yourself accountable. So you got to act like, it's better to act like there's a version of you outside of yourself judging you each time you do an action. And you know dang well, it's like a significant other. You want the best for your significant other. So therefore, since you want the best for your significant other, you would make sure you do the things to protect them from the hang-ups within themselves. It's levels to this. We need people, you know what I'm saying, to get back in alignment. A lot of people went from doing the work to just doing rituals. Nowadays, I get on the internet and I just see, I'm spiritual. See, I do voodoo. That ain't it. We all can do that. That ain't nothing to do with your growth. See, it's a matter of enlightenment. Enlighten. In other words, bring intelligence. See, light is intelligence. Light is the intelligence that comes between two dark forces. So with that being said, two dark forces. The sun is a dark star. When there's a sunspot, that's when the light is void enough for you to see the actual sun, which is dark. A sunspot is that dark spot underneath the plasma field of that light. And that light is just the intelligence that comes down. It's like a cable and two light bulbs hooked to each other, and one generating power and the other one receiving it. But the sun is generating the power, and that cord, that being the dark cable, you know what I'm saying, that cord is it's the tube that carries that light. Now let's say the cord is the dark matter of space, and then the other end of the cord is earth. And we're receiving that light from the sun, which is intelligence that enlightens you, that builds your DNA. There are a lot of people trying to break down and trying to block the sun. They don't want you to get the divine intelligence. They want you to use AI. They want you to use the chat GBT and all that. That's for worldly stuff. That's not for the spirit. And you feeding that stuff to the spirit because they trying to get that consciousness. But that's another story, man. But nah, man. So you got to connect to yourself. You choose God, which is choosing your soul. That soul within matters. That is the jealous God of the Bible. You get what I'm saying? That jealous God of the Bible. In other words, you steer away from me, I'm going to lead you to trial and tribulations. You're going to find destruction in every avenue until you find yourself again. You're going to find destruction because you're doing wrong, and it's just like a slap on the wrist. Hey, turn around and go back to you. That's that jealous God. He's jealous that, you know what I'm saying, you're ignoring that being within yourself. So therefore, subconsciously, you'll attract things into your life that's not necessarily suited for you. You cannot serve two masters. You could serve the flesh and its desires, or you could serve the soul and your purpose. Serve the soul, and the soul first. That's just what it is. And then those, that's caught in the middle, that's the inner conflict that you face. If you know doing this is bad for you, why are you doing it? It's bad for you. If it breaks down your flesh, And the flesh is no longer serving the soul, therefore it's serving the ego of what it is. Therefore it's serving the desires and the pleasures of this plane that we call the matrix, or this physical world. This physical world is simply the illusion animated from your consciousness. People are disconnected. You need them to get reconnected. You have to detach from this physical to reconnect to your spiritual mind. See, a lot of people are like, oh, I can eat meat and this and that. I don't care if you eat meat, but you know, when you eat meat, you're taking on things that's going to cause you to have to war within yourself. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to rely on ritual work. You shouldn't have to rely on all these things. When you can rely on that soul within you, self-discipline becomes your protection from all these things that are trying to break you down and attack you. You don't have to even go to no tit for tat. There's levels to this. You know, choose your soul. Self-preservation is the first law of nature, but what about to say self means soul? Even deeper. You talking to yourself, or you talking to your soul by way of your ancestors? Which are your thoughts? All your thoughts are spirits. All your emotions are spirits. It just depends on which chakra that these spirits resonate in. Now, if you find yourself hypersexual and all this, is it the spirits of the parasites, which is these counterfeit spirits that sit there and try to take over the body and body snatch you, which nowadays is being manipulated by technology and nanobites to take over your being from within? Your starship, your flesh is the starship that carries the consciousness. Without the starship, you cannot exist in this plane. Even deeper, this world is like a virtual reality for the soul, for the gods. So with that being said, your virtual reality helmet is your crown. It's your brain. Your brain and brainstem. You cannot take your brain off and still be in this plane. That's your virtual reality helmet. Once that brain is taken, you're not here no more. You know what I'm saying? It's levels to this. Anything happens to the brain, it's like something happened to your helmet. Now you can't experience the video game how it's supposed to be experienced. All voodoo is and all these ritual works and hoodoo, this is just, you know what I'm saying, what you would call the cheat codes, or the codes that, you know what I'm saying, that help you to stay up. You gotta modify things sometimes, but it's only when necessary. Because these powers, these spirits that people are dealing with, these are the angels that serve God. You cannot be using these angels to do the wrong thing and expecting life to be beautiful consistently. Then you're going to have to continuously do it, because now you're serving spirits. When, like in the Bible, it says, I am God. You know what I'm saying? If you God, you have dominion over spirit. Therefore, you have the power to manipulate the forces around you by way of your thought process. These altars are just extensions of your mind. It's levels to this. I want people to start thinking, you know, you're supposed to do right. Look at One Piece, the show. Got all these people using devil fruits. That's the rituals. Then you got those using hockey. That's the spirit. And then you got those using both. And then you got those using it for good. That's Luffy and his people. And then you got those using it for wrong. Now they call him the sun god. This is the thing, man. They changed up our plane. They changed up how we move. We're not supposed to be moving in low frequency. I don't care how spiritual you are. The whole world is spiritual. Even the lowest of the lowest considered spiritual to these spirits. But this is just spirit animated to appear physical. Accepting the word of God, which is DNA. The DNA, which is the blueprints of this plane. If I create a word, you know what I'm saying, the word is a spell. Now, if this word has a certain energy structure, the atoms that appears in alignment with that structure will start to formulate in a physical way in according to this word. So that's when something comes from the ethers, the dark matter, to the light, which is the animation of said plane. The animation of these ethers into a pattern to appear to be physical. Nothing is really physical. If you want me to get real technical, nothing is really physical. Everything is spiritual. Like I said, even a crackhead farting You know what I'm saying? The light of fire, that's spiritual. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if he dragging his butt on the street. Someone eating farts on OnlyFans, that's spiritual. It's just what spirits are you serving? You choose your soul or you choose your flesh. Not all spirits are in alignment with your purpose. See, the balance isn't being, oh, I'm in a human experience, so I'm going to do human stuff. You're not a human. You're a God in human flesh. The balance is being a God with human flesh. That's God and human. Instead of being a human with human flesh. Not living as God, disconnected from yourself, therefore you're no longer chosen. Being chosen means you coming with self-discipline and honor. The honor is what's missing in today's age. They don't want to see that. They want people to be low. I need people to use their mind and not just their brain. Even your mind and your brain are two separate entities. The mind is the thought process of your soul. Your brain is just a control room for the starship that your ancestors might help you guide through your brain. It's the temple of God. The temple of God between the temples. You have 7 chakras. You can operate from your lower chakras or your higher. These are 7 brains, even deeper. See, the chakra centers are the portals that these divine angels tend to resonate through. You can tap into these things to ward low spirits out. You know what I'm saying? And you can do that through prayer. Like, none of this, people don't know what it is. I just want to, you know what I'm saying, let y'all know, you know, it's deeper than what it appears, always. There's always levels to this. You know what I'm saying? So I just want y'all to think with love, man. I love y'all. I just wanted to drop a quick message. You know, Dosha Lyfe TV. I'm back again. And yeah, I'll be more consistent this time. You know, I took a little hiatus, but I needed to. You know, we have those times in life. I love y'all. Peace. Hit my cash app. I'm gonna put it in the description if you fuck with what I'm talking about. Excuse my French. You know what I'm saying? You deal with what I'm talking about? Yeah. Go ahead. Send that. You know, and I'm also get to the point I'm doing personal readings, you know, energy readings, you know, consultations. If people want this one-on-one talk, you know what I'm saying, hit up my email. I'm gonna put it on the description too. All right. Peace, fam.